What's up, Trojan family, man? What it do? I got some news for y'all. It seemed like hey, look, we ain't got to worry about Oregon no more when it comes to recruiting high school. We ain't got to worry about it no more. They did change course. First off, if y'all didn't know, not too long ago, if it was about like 2 weeks ago, Oregon had sent out a gang of offers, a wave of offers for the 27 class. All them offers that they had sent out, the recent wave they had sent out, was all kids not in California. All kids going east. You know what I'm saying? All kids going east and south, right? They didn't even offer no West Coast kids. And that last little slew of offers. So they already changed their approach to, oh, we ain't finna pound California recruits. We finna be more national recruits. And Oregon, they've been nationally recruiting for the last couple years, but they focus is being California. They 27 class, they changed the whole strategy, right? They changed their whole strategy, right? It ain't California focused. Now we have this news. It's happening before our eyes. It's happening before our eyes. We got two things happening at the same time. Oregon falling and USC is rising, right? So let me read y'all this. My boy B Jones from Light the Torch podcast sent me this off Duck territory, and this is two people who familiar with the Oregon Ducks program and their NIL. This is their job to do this and know this, right? So check this out. It says, there isn't any way around it. The Ducks are getting hit right now on the trail, and they are losing battles. It's going to happen to everyone, but there isn't any way you can really sugarcoat it and change the narrative. The Ducks need a win on the recruiting trail right now. I think it will happen in June as the Ducks are set up to host a large number of official visitors, and those players are high on Oregon. The odds are high that Oregon will pluck a handful or even more of them commitments. That being said, the staff is going to have to adjust their strategy and how they're recruiting, because right now they are losing commits and not gaining them. Eric, who is another Oregon insider, this is from Matt. He said, Eric has heard this and so have I. It does sound like the Vision Street, which is a NIL, Oregon sports program, the AD, and other various NIL outlets have started to shift their NIL focus from paying for high school prospects large sums of money, but instead spending large chunks of their money to keeping its current talent on the roster beyond the current season, and then hitting the transfer portal, right? That's their strategy, is to spend more money in a transfer portal than in high school recruiting. Now let's look at what Eric says, since he mentioned Eric. It says, I was talking to a non-football Duck source about this recently, and they said word in the athletic department was that NIL funding for football will be more focused on transfer additions and or retaining current players than prep recruits, right? They compared it to like if you in the NFL and you been on the NFL team. It's like focusing more on free agency than the draft. So Oregon is going to have a team full of missionaries. Team full of bag chasers, a team full of Bear Alexanders. Wow. So they not even trying to compete. They say they finna be transfer portal merchants. And what's gonna happen is, as we get further in this NIL, as y'all see, our USC getting their things together, more and more schools is going to figure this out, and more schools is going to be able to retain players, right? So in the future, you're going to see less players transferring because of money, right? So maybe these next couple years, the transfer portal going to be stacked with talented players that NIL checks bounce, right? Some didn't work out. But in the long run, the transfer portal is going to be full of kids that couldn't see no playing time in other places. Now it always gonna be the kids at the second tier programs that play at an NFL level that's gonna look to bump up, like Bishop Fitzgerald on our team. You know what I'm saying? Kamari Ramsey. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Lucas, right? So they're gonna be able to get some players, but the portal, it ain't gonna be stacked with talent like it has been in this past. I'm telling you, like the Derek Harmons, a lot of these kids hopped in the portal for money reasons, and it wasn't this. Basically what I'm saying is a lot of starters has hopped in the portal since this portal thing began, where these players ain't got to sit a year, right? I'm saying that's going to slow down, and it's going to be a little bit less talent in the portal, because I feel like more and more schools is getting their NIL together, i.e. USC, right? So the transfer portal ain't gonna have as much talent as it has since its inception, and Oregon is finna rely on that. They finna spend more money. They NIL focuses on retaining the players they get, which is good. I like that. That ain't bad. That gonna help them. You know what I'm saying? That's a good thing, right? The players that we do get, we gonna keep them. That's cool. But when you focus on building your roster around transfers, I don't think you're gonna win the championship like that. A team full of transfers and mercenaries. I just don't. Because first of all, they ain't gonna die on the field for that Oregon football program, right? Because they come in there for money. Oregon wasn't their first choice. Oregon ain't really in their heart. It's just the next best option, right? So they ain't gonna be die-hard kids. That's one. Two, you're gonna get selfish kids that's more about they self in their bag. More than likely, you're gonna run across more Bear Alexanders, or kids with handlers like Bear Alexander, I should say. Right? You don't want a team full of kids who left one school because of the money wasn't right, or because they wanted more money. That ain't how you build a championship team. You build a team with players you get out of high school and is down for the program and is committed and believe in the program. So this is a big win for us. Now look at USC. Our strategy is the exact opposite. Our strategy is to hoard high school talent, right? Oregon want to hoard transfer talent. Now Oregon may think that's the way to go, because all their success always has been tied to a transfer of some sort. I even think Marcus Mariota was a transfer. If I'm wrong, then oh well, I ain't a Duck fan, right? But you got Bo Nix, they most successful team. They feel like Oregon feel like you could build a championship team through the transfer portal. I don't think you can, unless you could just create a dream team from the transfer portal. And I'm talking about 7 to 8 NFL first round type players on defense and 7 to 8 NFL first round. So unless you grab 15, 16 transfer portal, 7 to 8 on each side of the ball, that's first round level NFL draft picks, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think that's a sustainable model, right? And like I said, in the future, the transfer portals are gonna be more kids who couldn't start, was too down on the depth chart, or wasn't patient enough and competitive enough to stick around and earn that starting spot, right? So they gonna get a lot of kids that feel like they entitled to start, or this should be starting, right? Now it's gonna be few kids that the coaches got that wrong, and you know what I'm saying, and it's gonna be situations they gonna find kids that wasn't playing that might come and ball. But I'm just letting y'all know, USC fans, it's up. It's really up now. The fact that we focusing on the high school kids in Oregon is now focusing on the transfer portal. Bro, we gonna have more talent, because because first of all, we was already gonna whoop their ass in this California recruiting. Now that we got our NIL, it was at least already gonna be 60-40 with these California kids in SC favor. I mean, look at this class. It was gonna be like that. Chad Bowden, You know what I'm saying? I don't think we have a gang of kids in our class that just with us for the money. Out of our 27 kids, I feel like, especially they shut down commitments, out of our 27 kids, I guarantee you 20 of them kids, it ain't the main reason ain't for the money. I could guarantee you that, because I could guarantee you Kenya Pepe's and the Tom Toms offered bags. You know what I'm saying? So we was already taking back the recruiting in California. Now that Oregon ain't even gonna try their hardest to compete with it, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. When I mean it's a wrap, we still got to develop the players and keep them and win on the field. But as far as this recruiting, last year probably was the last year that Oregon finished with a better recruiting class in SC. It's right there. They're gonna focus on the transfer portal, which I'm happy. We watching the death of a program. We watching a program getting brought back down a notch. SC. California back ours. Now we got to keep this fence up and make sure nobody try to replace Oregon that's trying to compete with us for this California talent. You hear me? You hear me? Oh man, it is funny when I read this. Like, because I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna end this video with this. Oregon already shift the geographical recruiting footprint for their 27 class. The last wave of 27 offers they made was all kids not in the Pacific time zone. I'm telling you, all Southern and Midwest kids, right, for the 27 class. And then they hear that they're gonna focus their money on the transfer portal. So not only is they not focusing on California recruits for the 27 class, especially, right, and they not gonna put their best foot forward as far as the bag with the high school recruiting. Oh, they ain't dropping the bags like that. Oh, they ain't making California a priority. Oh, it's up. It's up. What they gonna do? They probably try to still commit for the 5 stars. So a kid like Brandon Arrington, I think they'll commit. They'll compete to the highest dollar with certain kids. I think Ryder Lyons, especially because they missed out on Curtis and they lost Jonas Williams. I think they'll commit. I think they'll spend transfer money on them. But besides that, I say like each class they might choose 3 or 4 players, like some 5 stars that's interested. If they get some 5 stars that's interested by like 3 or 4 of them, I think they'll throw the bag. But as far as a whole class, like how they was throwing bags at whole classes, And that's what you get from a poverty program that never won no natty, y'all. So look, they never won no natty, but they feel like they've been a successful program. And they've been a successful program because they transfers, you know, the Bo Nixes, right? So they feel like the transfer is the way to go because they've been winning 9-10 games every season. They just won the Big Ten. I mean, they've actually been doing their thing on the field. But that's fool's gold. See, all that transfer, I feel like, is the reason they can't get over the hump. All them mercenaries can't get over the hump. So Oregon is making it hard for themselves. So watch for them to make it for this in the transfer portal though, y'all. Like they gonna try to kill in the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? They most definitely is. And then another thing, since they focus on the transfer portal, I'm telling you, they're gonna make a lot of kids, talented kids that they got over there. We can't lie. I mean, the last, like, man, the 24 class, the 25, the 23 class, they 22, 23, 24 classes is stacked with talent, right? So they gonna lose some talented players that they even recruit out of high school because they focus gonna be the portal. And you gonna have a freshman, a true freshman, or a redshirt freshman that ain't blossomed yet. Every flower don't blossom at the same time, right? So they gonna have some freshman red shirts that got the potential to be stars and eventually gonna be stars. Some of them gonna lead a program because Oregon gonna be looking at it year-to-year basis. We trying to compete for a national championship, so they might look at a redshirt freshman with promise, 4 or 5 star out of high school, but be like, he ain't ready now, and bring in some guys in the transfer portal. And this young talented kid who was expecting to play his second year, you know what I'm saying, see all these juniors and seniors ahead of him on the depth chart. that got NFL potential, because that's what Oregon gonna look at in the transfer portal, right? At least they gonna try, right? So this is gonna cause more decommitments, even though they want to focus on retaining a current roster. But if a player really want to play and he got another option like a USC or Michigan or Ohio State that could replace that money that Oregon giving them, because they ain't throwing out the big bags like that no more for the high school recruits, and offer him playing time, they're going to dip. They're going to be like, this money you trying to give me to stay, I could get this money from another school and actually play instead of sitting behind all these transfer portal kids. So this is going to mean more commitments for us. We already put up the fence. Now we got less people trying to climb the fence, right? And then gonna be more kids that decommit that gonna be in the portal from Oregon, and they more than likely they already in the West Coast, already from the West Coast, or playing on the West Coast, or playing in the Big Ten. So it'll be easy for them to say, I'll just go right down the coast and really get the real West Coast vibe, because Oregon ain't a West Coast vibe. Oregon, you might as well be in the Rockies. You might as well be in Idaho or Montana or something, or Nebraska. Not a West Coast vibe. Jabronis. So they might be like, okay, I'm finna go south. I'm finna go down to 5 and get that real West Coast vibe and play for a program that has won multiple national championships, and I got a chance to play and get developed by the best coaches in the world. It's up. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long. I just have to let y'all know, man. Oregon is falling, and I'm gone.